If you're struggling with PMS, spotting before your period, pre-period anxiety, those really bad period cramps, short luteal phase, this is the truth that nobody is telling you about progesterone. And that is the food you're putting on your plate can make or break your progesterone levels. I want you to really feel confident when it comes to plating your food, knowing that you are doing the best that you can to support optimal hormonal imbalance. So stay with me. I want you to know exactly how you can support your hormones so that you can feel calm, energized, and back in control of your health again. We're going to kick it right off with the first food that's going to support your progesterone levels, and that is sweet potatoes. Okay, so sweet potatoes, they're just the unsung hero. Why do we not talk enough about sweet potatoes? Because not only do they contain a whopping about 500 milligrams of potassium, which potassium is your stress mineral. So the more stressed you are, the more depleted you are in potassium. The more depleted you are in potassium, the more stressed you are. And we all know about cortisol and progesterone and stress. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. Up here, we have our grandfather hormone called pregnenolone, okay, from which all other hormones come. So progesterone comes from it, and so does cortisol. Your body is always going to prioritize cortisol over progesterone. It's going to prioritize making it over progesterone because it wants to keep you alive, okay? Cortisol is your fight or flight hormone, and the more stressed you are, the more in fight or flight you are, even if it's just stress from family, stress from work, stress in your everyday life. Your body doesn't know that that's what's going on. It goes, oh, we have to run from the bear. So it's going to prioritize that cortisol, and therefore it's going to deplete your potassium levels. So sweet potato is a big kicker when it comes to your potassium levels. So it's a great one to bring in. And on top of that, we need potassium to best utilize magnesium. And magnesium is one of those minerals that does, because it relaxes us, really helps support progesterone. So do you see how we're like going through our mineral channel in order to help support our progesterone levels? So sweet potato is a great one. Not only is it high though in potassium, it's also high in soluble fiber. So that's going to be great to help support our blood sugar levels, which we're going to get into a little bit later. And it's also high in vitamin B6. So vitamin B6 is a great one. Not only does it support mood, but it also is great at supporting optimal progesterone levels. So you're just coming in with a heavy hitter. Sweet potatoes are knocking it out of the park here with supporting you on so many different levels. I used to have a client with PMDD, and sweet potatoes was the thing that she would always gravitate towards in that luteal phase. And she got to a point where she would literally tell me, I have to have my sweet potato every single day. And it doesn't have to be the same. You can, bake it and put some grass-fed butter and some cinnamon on it, or maybe you want to chop them into like fries and bake them that way. Some people even put sweet potatoes into smoothies to help make it creamier. There's so many ways that you can get in your sweet potato. It doesn't always have to be the same way. I love sweet potato. I love getting a sweet potato and putting some butter and some cinnamon on it. That's my go-to way of eating it. But I have come across so many people that they make sweet potatoes like a marshmallow brown sugary dessert, which, I mean, it kind of does sound gross, but it kind of defeats the purpose of why we're eating a sweet potato, which it's just going to put you in a blood sugar roller coaster if you're bringing in all of that brown sugar and marshmallows. So maybe don't consume it that way. But if you are like my client and you think that sweet potatoes are just going to change the game for you, please bring them in. And the thing is, you can find, these minerals and vitamins in other foods. It's not that sweet potato was just magical for her, but sweet potato contained a lot of the ones that she needed. And in that luteal phase, when, PMDD is starting to hit and you just definitely get decision fatigue and overwhelm fatigue, and there's just so many things you feel like you need to do, a sweet potato was something that contained a lot of the things that she needed. She didn't have to grab from multiple foods. She didn't have to plan. She just grabbed a sweet potato. She knew it had what she needed, and it really did make a really big difference for her in her mood. So maybe a sweet potato could be something like that for you. Okay. So try it out, try bringing it in that luteal phase and see how it makes a difference for you. That's what I love about cycle syncing when it comes to rotating foods with your cycle, because when we rotate our foods with our cycle, we can use the food to support each phase of our cycle, to support the rise and fall of our hormones. And sweet potato is actually one of our luteal phase foods. It's one of the foods that we would recommend in that luteal phase because of all of the reasons that I recommended. But you can even take that a step further if you're going to go into cycle syncing, and you can focus on different foods at different phases of the cycle to support the estrogen and testosterone. But again, we'll dive into that at a later time. Okay, so sweet potatoes is going to be number one. The next one, you guys, is not a food. I would be remiss in not telling you that one of the best things you can do when it comes to plating your food for progesterone is going to be blood sugar balance. Blood sugar balance is so important. You can't talk about progesterone without talking about blood sugar balance, because blood sugar imbalance impacts your cortisol levels. It impacts your inflammatory levels, right? And the higher our inflammation, our body's going to be fighting an uphill battle to bring up progesterone. Okay. So every time you go on a blood sugar roller coaster, you're therefore going on a cortisol roller coaster, and you're therefore going on an inflammatory roller coaster. Okay. So if you can do one thing, it's going to be balance your blood sugar. Okay. So if you imagine, and I'm not talking like if you're a type 2 diabetic, just if you have insulin resistance, you have to balance your blood sugar all the time. We're not looking to flatline. We're looking for rolling hills, not a flatline. Okay. I'm not looking or recommending that you do keto. I'm recommending that you manually balance your blood sugar at every single meal. So instead of getting peaks and valleys, like you ate a donut or you ate a piece of avocado toast for breakfast and your blood sugar goes, we're looking for rolling hills. Okay. So you can easily do that by manually balancing your blood sugar at every snack and every meal. Okay. So imagine your plate. We have our plate here. Half our plate's going to be soluble, or not soluble. It's going to be non-starchy veggies. And in that can go like broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, Brussels sprouts, leafy greens, anything that's a non-starchy veggie. And then you're looking to be half your plate, or a quarter of your plate protein, and then a quarter fat and carb, and aiming for at least about 30 grams of protein, animal protein if you can, for your meals. And you're going to notice, I promise you, you're going to notice a stark difference in how you feel, because the more balanced you can keep your blood sugar, the better your energy is going to be. You're not going to notice that afternoon slump. You're going to be sleeping better. Your inflammatory levels are going to be better. And because of balancing your blood sugar and impacting all of that, it's going to impact your progesterone levels. I have had a client that literally, she had great hormone levels according to her hormone panel. Like her estrogen was fine, her progesterone was fine, her clearance was fine, her liver was on top of everything. But you know what? She had extremely painful periods. You know what made the biggest difference for her? Balancing her blood sugar. She literally was on day 3 of her period and she goes, I still haven't had cramps. This is kind of weird. I don't really know what I did to make them go away. And I said, well, you've been balancing your blood sugar. And she goes, yeah, but that's all I've been doing. That's how impactful blood sugar balance is, because it just impacts those inflammatory levels, and it impacts our stress. It's just, if you're going to take one thing away, you're going to start balancing your blood sugar. You're going to manually balance your blood sugar at every single meal and never eat a naked carb. Okay. So naked carbs would be like, I'm just going to grab a piece of fruit, or I'm just going to grab a potato, or I'm going to grab a piece of bread. Okay. That's a naked carb. It's a carb that doesn't have any fat and any protein with it and not enough fiber. Okay. So don't eat a naked carb. Always pair it well. And the other thing that I think people think about is that bread and carbs are interchangeable, and that's not true. Bread is a carb, but not all carbs are bread. Okay, so a sweet potato is a carb. Corn is a carb. Fruit is a carb. Okay, so that's important to know, because sometimes people think like, oh, I'm not eating bread, so therefore I'm not eating carbs, but that's not the case. Okay, bread is a type of carb, but there's a lot of other carbs outside of bread. So really dig into that when you're plating your food and you're looking for that quarter that's that fat and carb. Remember, you have a lot of options out there, a lot of whole food options that don't have to include bread in case you don't want to have bread. Okay. So the next one up is going to be plantains. Okay. I don't know about you, but I hadn't heard of plantains growing up. They were never something that were included in my food at all, but they are extremely high in vitamin B6. And so they're going to be a great support for your progesterone levels. But on top of that, they are what's called a resistant starch. So a resistant starch is going to be something that actually feeds your good bacteria in your gut. And it's something that has a very low glycemic index, so it's going to help stabilize and support your blood sugar, okay? We're always going to keep circling back to this blood sugar because it is hands down one of those foundational things that I bring in for every single one of my clients. You can't have balanced hormones without having balanced blood sugar. It's impossible, okay? So plantains are a great one. When I first started eating plantains, it was kind of I don't know how to eat these. They're kind of weird. I first started putting them into smoothies. That was an easy way for me to do it. Another way that I did it is I actually had them kind of as a dessert. I chopped them up like a banana and I put them in the oven for a couple of minutes until they just get warm. And then I sprinkled them with cinnamon. It's actually quite good. So I would try that. If you haven't, it's a great one to bring in. Did I mention how high they are in vitamin B6? I hope I did. Okay. Another one that I love to do is seed cycling. So you've probably heard about seed cycling, but I'm going to break it down for you and I want to share with you why I would recommend it. So seed cycling is going to be 1 tablespoon of pumpkin, 1 tablespoon of flax seeds from your period to ovulation. And then 1 tablespoon of sesame and 1 tablespoon of sunflower seeds from ovulation to period. So that's 1 tablespoon of each every single day. Buy them whole, buy them organic, grind them before eating them. If you want to grind more of them like at a time, like for the week, put them in the freezer. It's going to keep them fresh. Seeds go rancid a lot faster once the seed's been broken. So make sure you do that. I get asked a lot, should I grind my seeds? Yes, you should grind your seeds unless you're going to sit there and chew them for 20 bites per seed and make sure they're completely broken up, okay? Because seeds have that protective shell and we actually want to break that protective shell so you can get the nutrients in them. Otherwise, you're just going to be pooping out whole seeds, which kind of defeats the purpose of eating them. I mean, you are still getting fiber, but it defeats the purpose of getting the nutrients in them, okay? So pumpkin and flax seeds, which are the seeds you do from your period to ovulation, they are high in fiber. So again, we're coming in with the blood sugar balance, but they're high in lignin. So they help support your body producing more estrogen if you need it, or the detoxification of estrogen if you need it. And they're also really high in zinc, and zinc is going to be fabulous for egg quality. And the more we can support egg quality, the more we're going to support that corpus luteum, which is what produces your progesterone after ovulation. So that follicle that releases that egg forms your corpus luteum, which is what produces your progesterone after ovulation, which is why we focus on egg quality, because it gives us a stronger corpus luteum, which is going to give us more progesterone, better progesterone. Okay. And then sesame and sunflower seeds, again, they're high insoluble fiber, but they're high in vitamin E and they're high in magnesium. Okay. Both of which are going to be, again, very supportive of your progesterone levels. Okay. Vitamin E is a great one. So bring it in with the seeds. Okay. Another one in the potassium world is going to be avocados. Okay. So again, potassium is so depleted in our society. We're so stressed and our potassium just goes down the tank. Even if you were an average person of average stress levels, you want to be consuming about 4,500 milligrams of potassium from your food. I'm not talking supplementation, I'm talking about food a day. Okay. So sweet potatoes, avocados, coconut water, nettle tea, all of these are high in potassium. So they're great ones to bring in. Okay. Another one that I talk about a lot, beef liver. Okay. Beef liver is going to be great. It is high in vitamin A, is high in B vitamins. So this is going to help support your ovaries. It's going to help support this luteal phase. I think about beef liver as nature's multivitamin. Okay. Now, it is actually incredibly cheap to go to your butcher shop and ask for beef liver and buy it from them. It's like $7 a pound. It's very, very cheap. And I would recommend putting it in the freezer. And how I consume it is anytime we have a beef product, I would take it out with the cheese grater. And I literally just frozen shred it and put it in whatever I'm making. Like if I'm making meatballs, if I'm making meatloaf, literally anything with beef. And then I put it back in the freezer. Now I have kids, and so I find that that is a great way to sneak it in. I hate the taste of beef liver. I'm not someone that's going to sit there and eat beef liver pate with crackers. Sounds disgusting. But I will put it in with beef products, and I also will do beef organ capsules. So I find beef organ capsules to be a great way to also help me get in more of it. And I love getting a blend because you can get different nutrients in there. So not just beef liver, but you could get like beef heart or beef kidney. Beef kidney is a great natural histamine. Beef heart is really high in CoQ10. So it's literally a great multi. I go for Paleo Valley's beef organ complex. You can use a coupon code Leah to save with them. But if you use a coupon code and get it on subscription, it's actually very cost effective. So that's a great one to bring in. And then I would be remiss if I don't leave you with an adaptogen powder, and that is maca or maca, depending on how you want to say it. I typically say maca. This has been shown to help improve luteal phase length. And it's one of the unsung heroes that I bring in a lot of times if I have clients who have pre-period headaches. It's a great one for that. It's also a great one to help support mood. It's also a great one that helps support libido. So maca is a great one. You typically are needing the general recommendation. Again, this is not medical advice, would be about 1.5 to 3-ish grams. So that is probably higher than like the standard dosage of what you would think to see. So if you've taken maca before and you never noticed a difference with it, I would encourage you maybe to play around with the dosage. Maca is something that I wouldn't recommend if you're someone with PCOS, okay? It's not my first line of defense that I would bring in for anybody that has PCOS because it can bring up your androgens. And if you are already dealing with excess androgens, that's not something that we want to do. If it was something you would be doing, you would also need to make sure that your androgens are going down your beta pathway, which again, you're not going to know without testing. So if you have PCOS, I would recommend not bringing in maca. Okay. So these are some really easy foods that you can be bringing in. You're going to be balancing your blood sugar. You're going to be bringing in sweet potatoes. You're going to be bringing in plantains. You're going to be bringing in some seed cycling. Maybe you're going to be bringing in some beef liver. Maybe you're going to bring in some maca root. Okay. But remember, please always start with blood sugar balance. It's going to be the most important. Okay. And when it comes to supporting your luteal phase and expecting a difference by plating your food, remember it's going to take about 3 cycles to see a significant difference. Why is that? I'm going to tell you. It's because that's about how long it takes in your follicle journey to release from like a little non-mature egg to when it releases a mature egg. Okay. It is about 90 days, about the length of 3 cycles. Okay. So what you're doing right now is directly going to impact your cycle, your progesterone levels, your period 3 cycles from now. So if you do this for 2 weeks and you go, I don't notice a difference, you didn't give it long enough. You have to make sure that you're giving it that time and that consistency. Okay. So please make sure that you're giving it those 3 cycles. Another thing is that you're going to notice differences in energy. You're probably going to notice differences in mood. You're probably going to be noticing differences in sleep a lot earlier because of the direct impact that getting in enough potassium, magnesium, and balancing your blood sugar does have on just your everyday functions. Okay. So even before you were going to get to progesterone levels and noticing a better luteal phase and better mood and less anxiety, you're going to notice those things before then. And that's a great clue to help you know that you are going in the right direction. Okay. So of course, if you want to dive deeper than this, or you heard all of these things and you're like, that's great, I have no idea how I'm going to implement that, or I want to do the testing, I want to know specifically what minerals I need. I want to know what my potassium levels are at now. I want to know what my magnesium levels are at. And I need help implementing this into my everyday life, because guess what? I really struggle with putting things into action. The hormone reset program can truly change your life. And someone graduated from the hormone reset program and they wrote in, they said, Leah, you don't talk enough about how much accountability and support you get from your accountability coach as you go through the program. And so this is me telling you that we literally have someone that links arms with you and walks you through the entire program, helps you with your protocols, answering your questions, helping you find products that you're looking for, helping you implement your protocol. I mean, you don't do it alone. And that is one of the biggest reliefs as you enter your health journey, is that you don't have to do it alone anymore. Okay. So go to bit.ly/HRP free call, and you can book a consult call with someone on my team, and they're going to listen to your story. Okay. We want to know if we can actually help you. And if we can, then we will let you know how you can work with us in the hormone reset program. But first, we need to hear your story. We need to see if we're a good fit and if we can actually help you. So if that's the case, go to bit.ly/HRP free call, and we look forward to chatting with you.